Hey gang, oh my God, this is the best nerd sandwich ever. I mean, I had to be behind Andy Pass because he is an absolute legend, but to bring you an update, Naomi is definitely brewing a shit for the next break, so she will come to you with updates and it will be amazing. So, yeah, look, I'm going to be less on the facts and more on the vibes with you tonight because, I should start with a confession. I am a massive nerd. Like, I truly love getting excited about things that people are passionate about. I can get enthusiastic about something, anything, as long as the person coming is bringing you it with vibrancy and facts. And so a night like this is literally catnip for me. Seeing someone excited, wanting to share their knowledge, wanting to share their story, it's just the best. So dare I say, I am here at my own very church of nerd, and you are all my brethren. And I actually would like to take all of your minds and bring you into the cult of interdisciplinary collaboration. So tonight I am going to make the case. You know what? I'm going to go off on some tangents. It's close to the end of the year. We are all fucking tired. So, I've got the mic, so I get to tell some stories off to the side as well, but I'm going to bring you some case studies and truly try to bring you into my cult. And look, we're scientists, right? I'm going to bring my biases right up front. I'm an extrovert, obviously, and I understand that, other people are made differently. But for me, that bringing together of different disciplines and different ideas is literally the best. Yeah, I want to convince you that it's really the key to creating the greatest, most creative solutions to the biggest problems of our time, of which we have so many at the moment. And I want to say that removing the barriers between expertise needs to be the new standard practice of collaboration. And of course, before I really kick off, I want to acknowledge that interdisciplinary practice is by no means a new thing, right? First Nations peoples have been working and thinking and researching in that way on this country for over 65,000 years, and I pay my respects to their deep knowledges. So it's not new, the thing that I love and am the nerdiest about, but it's certainly been lost within lots of our education systems for like the last 100 years, where disciplines like the sciences and the arts were very much separated and siloed. And so when I was growing up, I had to choose one path. And the sciences were these subjects where smart people did it, and they were over there and they looked and sounded a certain way. And then the arts were this subject where creative people were doing it on the other side. And that never really sat right with me, but the choice had to be made. And I chose sciences. And by the way, if anyone needs to know about the microevolution of Cryptococcus neoformans variety neoformans in response to the antifungal agent amphotericin B, come talk to me. That was literally the title of my honours thesis. Wasn't so great at communicating science back then. So, science has been the delightful centre of my entire career. And yeah, I started off as a microbiologist, but I quickly discovered that I was a better science gossip than a scientist. So I much prefer talking about other people's science rather than doing my own. And then I moved away from science research into science tangents like broadcasting and education and festivals, and then strangely into museums and galleries. And I say strangely because it really didn't feel like a place for me. It didn't feel like a place where I was welcome, because in my brain when I was growing up, that was an other space. That was the space where the other type of people lived, the creative ones. They were there in that space. But entering into that field felt unimaginable to me until I started to have these sparking conversations with people who were shifting my perspective and transforming the picture of what it could be, that you can be both of these things. So I became the health and medicine curator at the Powerhouse Museum, which is an incredible privilege of being able to think about who we are and what we do and as people, and what stories and research that we tell, and what stories that we decide to keep. And it was a really excellent way of expanding my brain into thinking about who gets to tell those stories, because in health and medicine, especially with museums and galleries, like the humans who are donating lots of objects within that field, you know, if you do a Google image search for health and medicine professionals, this sort of image comes up. And sure, they're doing a pretty good job at trying to include a few people, although 4 of them are sort of fuzzy greyed out. So these are sort of the people that we're representing and carrying the stories of. But really, when we're talking about whose stories are getting kept, it's this guy. But then when you're talking about being a museum and you're looking for people to give you gifts, actually, it's usually this guy. So it's people who have kept objects and have done it in not a dispassionate way, have done it very much with their self at the centre. So it's rich white men generally. But being in that space and being able to have those different conversations. Oh, sorry, this guy is actually, does anyone know who this guy is? So that's Henry Wellcome, who is, you know, a delightfully eccentric white man. But I was just having too much fun with this slide. I'll keep going. So going to the powerhouse and being able to be embedded within these collections and start to think in a really beautiful, nerdy way about what were the gaps and what were the things that we weren't keeping. So this is definitely a tangent, but I had to show you guys the greatest collection of contraception posters that they have at the powerhouse. So this is family planning 50 years ago, doing posters about how there are 9 different methods of contraception. This isn't one of them. So being able to open up and shift and change the conversations that you're having by introducing different people who are having different decisions about how it is that you represent and make decisions about things that are important to us. And because all of these things, right, all of these decisions are making changes and setting out histories and recording histories. So it's really important who's in the room. Back to my main topic. So, oh my God, it was here in the Powerhouse Museum's collection that I first met the concept of and fell in love with the concept of this man. Does anyone know who this guy is? No one? Oh my God, it's my dead husband. It's Howard Florey. So for those who aren't knowing, Howard was the Australian scientist who was the driving force behind arguably the greatest medical revolution in the last century, penicillin. Now, he didn't discover the mould that produces this substance, but what he did was get to the heart of the problem. And that's a huge part of how he did it, was his unconventional desire to collaborate and have different voices in the room talking with each other. So he brought people and expertise and information from a wide variety of scientific areas together in one research group. And these days, that's absolutely common practice for scientists from different fields of work to come together in research centres. But 100 years ago, people thought he was really weird for doing that. And his lab at the University of Oxford was this really early, beautiful example of real-time collaboration from usually quite separate groups. In his case, it was still all sciences, so he had biology, bacteriology, biochemistry, pathology, medicine. He had experts who were working on the problem with him, and each of them doing experiments on their own, but coming together and sharing results and plotting out experiments. So I totally fell in love with this definitely dead man, and the methodology of inviting these different perspectives and sparking these ideas from learned colleagues together. And it was that spark, that connection, that really pushed their research forward and magicked the new solution that at that time they hadn't been able to develop penicillin on a large scale. So collaboration between the sciences, as I said, standard practice now, but what cult I'm bringing to you is that we need to push out of the comfort zone into making interdisciplinary connections more valued, more supported, and make this the new standard practice, creating those spaces for people to come together. So interdisciplinarity and experimentation are at the heart of the organisation that I work for. I promise this isn't an ad though. So it's Science. So who's been to Science Gallery? Yes, hello gang. Great. So at Science Gallery, we're not quite a research laboratory. We're not quite an art gallery. We are this space that welcomes being uncomfortable and having different sort of conversations around works that are greater than the sum of their parts. So my favourite way to describe what we do is that we are like a curator of connections. We're like the Tinder of research. So we're always looking to pair not just artists and scientists. It can literally be two disciplines. I don't care what disciplines they are. I just think that bringing humans together who are enthusiastic and have different points of view but tackling the same sort of area comes up with incredible solutions. And sometimes when you pair one human from a research area with another human, it creates these beautiful and meaningful connections that truly are equal and go on for many years. And sometimes it's a bin fire. And I think that both of those outcomes are incredibly interesting and worth doing because they generate all these different questions, perspectives and ways of tackling or coming up with solutions to a problem. So interdisciplinary practice, though, is always an uncomfortable place. Like, it is doing things differently and it is not just down one path. And I would say for every show that we have at Science Gallery or every interaction, there'll be people who truly get the shits. Sorry, Naomi. Because they say that it's not science or it's not sciencey enough or there's not enough research, while at the same time different people will be saying it's not artsy enough, it's not real art. And I'm very comfortable being in that place where you're disappointing everyone. So I wanted to go through, for just some examples of the incredibleness when you're bringing different humans together and the difference that it makes. So for our disposable program a few years ago, we put an open call out asking for people to do submissions to be in the show. And the main question was, we want to rethink waste. So Gaspar Bebe made this application to us saying, I want to do this thing called urinatron. I want to change the way that people think about urine, that it's not something to just flush down the toilet, that it's actually a valuable resource or resource. Thank you. Nerds, truly, my people. So he said, what I want to do is I want to fill this beautiful flask with my urine. I want to put it on a platform, on a pedestal, and I want to put a tap on the side and have a filter, and we will let the wee come through the filter so that it's water, and then the visitors can drink the water, knowing, like, the provocation is, would you? You know that it's safe, you know that it's gone through a filter, would you? Would you? Anyone? So would you drink the artist's wee? Can I see hands of who would drink the artist's wee turned into water? Okay. Okay, I like it. Now, I loved this proposition, but it wasn't, I was like, I think we can lift this. Gaspar. And so I looked through, because we're at the University of Melbourne, I was like, there must be someone at the University of Melbourne, did a little expert finder. Up pops Professor Peter Scales. So Peter Scales has been working for decades he's a chemical engineer, and he's been thinking about water management and urban planning and sustainability and how you shape a city and its water systems. And so I invited him to come and have a chat with this on Zoom with this artist, and he was up for it. A lot of the time the the people who are most up for having these stepping into an uncomfortable space are professors who are just about to turn emeritus because they've got all the knowledge, they've got all the time, and they could not give a fuck about the daily running of their labs. And then you've got people who are more entry level, who are keen beans, enthusiastic, looking to do everything and everything outside. So Peter said, yeah, I'll come along. But of course, gang, as you all know, once you get an engineer in the room, they don't want to talk about something, they want to show it. So as soon as he got in the room, Peter was just like, yeah, but you want to show that it's a valuable resource. So why don't we show it's a valuable resource? So together, over the course of a few weeks, they built this. So Urinatron was a glass shipping container where they made all of the things inside, and it was an enormous battery powered by human urine. And so we were then asking visitors to come, and if you would donate your urine, then you could plug your phone in and charge your phone using your own wee. And that is the face that I'm trying to get every time. That's Tara, who was a mediator at the time, so they're chatting to people about the works, and she's now in the education team. But that is the beauty of truly, because, you know, humour and disgust are two brilliant ways to connect with people and make them horrified or laugh and then make them think. And that is absolutely what Urinatron did. One person donated like over 80 samples, I've got to say. Things were getting a bit weird. But this entire thing would not... Oh, and also, at one point in time, I was holding the Vice-Chancellor's warm urine in my hand. I believe you put that down as other duties as required. So the project itself morphed. Neither one of them could have done that. This brilliant way of genuinely connecting with people and shifting the way that they think about it by putting their own urine to good use came from them. Oh, so back in our blood program, the Hotham Street ladies came in, and so the blood program was all about different ways of thinking and engaging with blood, and they wanted to tackle the taboo topic of menstrual cycles, and so they collaborated with these clinicians and decked out these 3 toilet cubes with normal and then two samples where if you were getting this blood flow as a person, then you should go and seek medical attention. And they did it all with icing and with lollies. And so we had this gallery experience where it was a topic that was really had been an uncomfortable place, but all of our staff of sort of 18 to 28-year-olds in there chatting about it, letting people step into the cubicle, delightful. The last one I wanted to share is vocable code. So this was in our Breaking the Binary show, and Winnie Song, who wanted to smash apart the stereotype that coding is just functional and just for tech bros, and Winnie creates this beautiful, poetic code that people can also engage with in gallery and read out and add to, that shifts the idea around what is possible for young people in the future, to shift exactly what it is that they might contribute. So my challenge to you, my darling cult members, is that stepping into uncomfortable places is a pain. It takes longer. Sometimes it turns into a bin fire, but it absolutely pushes the boundaries of what is possible and changes the perspectives of anyone who is engaging with your work. It raises questions you never could have thought of, and sometimes it allows you to hold warm urine right there in the palm of your hand. So, my challenge is absolutely you all need to step into uncomfortable places, because when we are conversing and coming together, there is no challenge above us. All hail Nerd Night. May it continue forever. And come and see us at Science Gallery.
Wow, what a wonderful tale of bonding over piss. Thank you very much. Any questions? Yes, right at the front here. If people have brilliant ideas, how can they get engaged with the Science Gallery?
Oh my God. So we have 2 shows a year. Thank you for that, Dorothy Dixon. We have 2 shows a year, and every show has an open call where we have the overarching theme, but we are willing people to come to us with the kernel of an idea or a fully scoped out idea or an existing work. We are always looking to support people, to connect them to someone who is from a different discipline. It just needs to be an idea that connects with our visitors and invites them, to give a part of their urine, to help with the coding, to actually engage our audience of generally 15 to 30-year-olds. Everyone's welcome. It's just that those humans have been battered with so many restrictions and boxes around them. We are trying to shift the perception of what is possible for them as a human in the next steps of their career and how it is that we might be able to shift the dial on the big issues.
Right. Any other questions?
It's way too long.
They're all too stunned by the piss.
I know, terrified.
Right. Well, we've got one back here.
The call to put in for emergence
Yeah,
like a month ago, right?
it was.
So you've got plenty to go, right? Like we shouldn't put it's over for that one.
Oh, for the one that's closed already? You can send me your idea, but yeah, that one it's over. But we're doing the jigsaw puzzle at the moment of what's making up that show. And the next one will be out, the next open call will be out in like 3 months. So stay tuned. But if it's an event, we're always looking for how people would connect with the themes in an event style.
Yeah, we've got a hand back here.
I feel like that much more very inspiring. I'm curious to know whether you have a most unexpected and delighted by cross-disciplinary collaboration that is not already from what we talked about.
I think I only heard about 50% of that. And most unexpected and
Unexpected cross-disciplinary collaboration.
oh, do you have a delightful and unexpected cross-disciplinary collaboration in mind?
So in the show that's on at the moment, which is about science fiction mythologies transformed, this pop artist and academic Sputniko, she's from Japan, she's incredible. She wanted to, has anyone heard of the red silk of fate? So it's about this red silk that's connected to you, and it's Asian mythology about how you will connect to and find your perfect person. And so Sputniko really made this pop video about it. It's glorious, but she really actually wanted to bring in science and technology and bring that myth into the current times, in contemporary times, with bioengineering. So she approached and collaborated with this professor in the University of Tokyo, and she got them to genetically engineer silkworms so that they embed oxytocin inside the silk. And then she created this Shinto shrine out of it so that it glows in the dark. And she says that if you wander around it, you might fall in love, but actually you'd have to take a little bit of the silk off and stick it up your nose and ingest it. And I don't recommend that. But that is a spectacular development of her wanting to bring this story from her culture and youth into bioengineering current times.
Yeah, one last question at the front here.
Hi. So you bring people together and sometimes you put them in uncomfortable positions, but that's where great things are born. Have you ever been in a position where you're bringing things together and you're like, oh, a little uncomfortable?
Have the uncomfortable positions you've brought people into made you uncomfortable?
Constantly, yes. As we all know, humans are very complex creatures, and when you go into a project and you truly are being open and going, there isn't a planned outcome. We sort of know the point that we're going to get to, but maybe we won't get to it, and maybe we'll. So every step along the way with lots of our projects, and especially the ones that don't turn out and don't work the way that you think they will. But truly, the bin fires, as we all know, in scientific practice, the things that didn't work need to be discussed and need to still be on display, even if they break a lot or didn't quite get to the end point.